Well, let me just talk a little bit about these charities. Friends of the Earth, World Wildlife Fund, Climate Action Network Europe, Age Concern. These are all respectable names, or were respectable names a few years ago, which have been hijacked. Literally millions of European taxpayers' money goes into these, and of course it gives them a seat at board level. If you're putting in nearly €1 million a year into a charity, you get a seat on the trustee board, and they will sing from the same hymn sheet. So all these Oxfam charities and nations, they all think the European Union is wonderful. They all go for climate change and all this sort of nonsense. And the poor old average Joe thinks, well, there must be some truth in it. For example, if Friends of the Earth are saying it, or the World Wildlife Fund, and the president's the Duke of Edinburgh, it's given this respectability. And of course, nobody asks for the accounts. When you buy a flag to stick in your lapel, you don't ask for the accounts, do you? You just think it's all in a good cause. But it's not. And you'll find that they're run by politicos on salaries to die for. We're talking 150,000 a year in pounds, over $250,000 a year, with fabulous pension schemes and expenses. Well, that's a lot of money for a charity. It may not be much for a Wall Street banker, but it's a lot of money running a charity. Universities. Let's look at some of the universities we have in my constituency of Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire. We have an agency, a European Union agency called Yorkshire Forward. And they give millions, the European Union gives millions of pounds a year to Yorkshire Forward, but of course it's only Yorkshire's money. So Yorkshire actually gives somewhere in the region of £700 million a year to the European Union, and we get about 5 or 6 or 10 million pounds a year back, and we're supposed to be thankful. But what do they do with the money, Alex? They fund seats at all the universities, and some of them are Monet seats and some of them are agency funded. So the professor in front of the class of impressionable 18 or 19-year-olds is probably a member of Common Purpose. He's certainly a Europhile. He's certainly a neo-socialist.
And so they're literally putting their people in everywhere.
Oh, they're absolutely everywhere. And of course, if you try and explain that to the ordinary Englishman, they think you're a swivel-eyed lunatic. And I can understand it, because you're an ordinary guy going about your business, Alex, living a life of quiet desperation, desperately trying to make all your bills meet and bring your family up and do the garden at the weekends. It's very difficult to understand that all these organizations have been infiltrated.
But if you control government, you control trillions of dollars. And so you're going to have these swindlers come in and do this. And they've taken over. You call them, little Freemasons. Americans may not know, but there's big controversy in England, of course. To be a judge or a barrister, you pretty much have to be a Mason. And they've certainly turned that fraternity into a implement of tyranny in many cases.
Absolutely, but it's so covert and clever, and of course the end game's long, Alex. Their patience is limitless. They are working to a goal. Give it just off the top of my head, you might be interested in this.
Hold on. I know you've only got limited time. You went to a studio with ISDN. We've got a break. We have the breaks at the end of the hour and start of the hour. You want to come back and finish up on the other side with 3 minutes?
Just a quick 3 minutes, thank you.
Yeah, because I know they're about to kick you out of the studio.
Yes,
we'll
indeed.
be right back with Godfrey Bloom, MEP.co.uk. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We're seeing this in Haiti. Real charities that actually really do give most of the money to the people are being demonized by the big establishment charities. This is all part of the racket. And he was going to give a few other examples. We ran into that break. A European Union member of Parliament from England, Godfrey Bloom, is our guest, and I'm shifting gears into your phone calls and a ton of other news and what just happened in Massachusetts last night with the election of Mr. Brown. Finishing up your point, Mr. Bloom.
Yes, indeed. Just very quickly, and sorry to be parochial for the Brits, this one really. Every charity, there are very few major charities that haven't been infiltrated. It's very difficult to get the information, but if you press and press, you can find out who funds them and where it comes from if you ask for it. But you have to be persistent. So we know that charities have been infiltrated. We also, as an interesting one, just to finish up on, which is something that you won't know and the Brits won't know, Baroness Baroness Ashton, who is the new foreign minister for the European Union, was a member of the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, which of course we know was partially funded by the Soviet Union in the 70s and the 80s. Not only did some of the money go missing, that nobody can actually find, when she was treasurer, she's now calling the shots on matters of foreign policy. And this is something I bet nobody knows, that it is now a European Union policy to acknowledge the domain of China over Tibet. We have given up now on Tibet. Tibet has been recognized as being a Chinese province, and that was virtually under the crosswords in our press. Nobody in England actually knows about that. It came out on a no news day underneath the crosswords. The City of London is going to be regulated now, the top regulator of the City of London, which is, the equivalent of Wall Street. We've got enough clout in London. It's the only thing we do which is as big as you have over there in the United States, is a Frenchman, a very charming, very urbane Frenchman, Monsieur Barnier, but he doesn't believe in the concept of dealing in commodity trading. He doesn't believe in selling forward or selling short. He doesn't believe in hedge funds. He's another dyed-in-the-wool socialist, so we can look forward to most of those industries which have been in the City of London moving across to places like Zurich. And they're still asleep in the City of London. They still don't know this is happening to them. You couldn't invent it, Alex.
Unbelievable. Well, we've got to have you back just on Common Purpose, because I get calls and emails constantly about it. And they're just have totally taken over society, because government knows it has to control the local community. And that's what Obama is a big community organizer with the Chicago model. And what's happened to you under Common Purpose and a few other groups is now happening here. I mean, it's been happening, but now it's getting really bad. We just had the Austin Police Department go in and intimidate and shut down the oldest gun show in Central Texas with no law, no nothing. They just intimidated it to close and intimidated the landlord to shut it down. And they're in the newspaper bragging how they did it, saying, they're protecting the citizenry. I mean, it's just a lawless government that just does whatever it wants. Sir, I really appreciate you spending so much time with us and continue your great work there in the Parliament fighting these people.
Thank you so much, and a great pleasure to be invited on again. Thank you so much.
Take care, ladies. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Godfrey Bloom, European Union member of Parliament from England. Okay.